Hello friends, and welcome to today's episode. Not many people talk about the horrible things and scary things that can happen during childbirth. Even though this has been going on since the beginning of human life, too many mothers still die when they shouldn't. In the United States, the number is shockingly high. People need to ask why so many bad things keep happening. Michelle Reeves, who was only 36 years old, died because of problems with her labor. Even though the baby lived, this is an interesting story for a lot of different reasons. Michelle was a surrogate mom, which means that she was having the baby for another partner. This is Michelle's second time working with them. She had also given birth to two of her own children, which means she has been pregnant more than once. On January 15, 2020, the San Diego mom was in the hospital giving birth. Today says that Michelle started to bleed while she was giving birth to her daughter. From there, her situation only got worse. Her family and friends are very sad about her death. Michelle had two kids, Gage and Monroe. Chris, her husband, was also very kind to her. Jamie Herwa, a friend of the couple, set up a GoFundMe effort to help Chris, who will need money to get through this, and start his new life as a single father. One problem led to another, and she had to fight for her life, wrote Jamie. Even though the baby was okay, Michelle wasn't. I can't even begin to think what her husband Chris and her two babies are going through, so I started this page to help raise money for help with the kids, for Chris as they all adjust, for funeral services, or anything else we can do to make it as easy as possible for them. Jamie said that it's sad that Michelle's kids won't get to grow up with their mom by their side. Jamie also said that these are the kinds of strange things that would never happen to someone you know. You always hear about things like this happening, but you never think it will happen to you, Jamie wrote. The GoFundMe effort has already raised more than $74,000. The goal is to raise $100,000, but every little bit helps. Michelle was helping a family who must also be in a terrible situation. Even though they got a new baby, they also had to say goodbye to a close friend at the same time. It's important for that family to know that even though they will feel sad about the death, they are not to blame for it. This was something no one could have seen coming. When you're pregnant, you have to go through a lot of tests to make sure everything is going as well as it can. Still, there are some things you can't stop. The World Health Organization says that in 2017, 810 women died every day while they were pregnant or giving birth. That's an insanely high number that will make you think what's going on in the world. Even more so because the number of deaths of mothers around the world went down from 2000 to 2017 before rising again. Some people all over the world die because they can't get good health care. Most places in the US think they have enough staff and resources, so that doesn't explain why so many people die in this country. The American Action Forum says that in 1987, there were 7.2 deaths for every 100,000 live births in the United States alone. This number went up to 16.7 deaths for every 100,000 live births in 2016. The OFF says that the US is becoming one of the most dangerous places for women to give birth. It also says that problems like high blood pressure, heart disease that doesn't go away, and diabetes can sometimes make it harder to give birth. To be as safe as possible, women should always go to every doctor visit and tell their care workers about any conditions ahead of time. In 2018, USA Today did an investigation and wrote a story about it. It said that a lot of people unfairly blame moms for the high death rate. The report says that at least 30 states haven't looked into the medical care given to women who died, or they haven't looked into deaths at all. Instead, many state committees' reports on maternal deaths focused on how people live their lives and problems in society. Even though every pregnant woman knows she shouldn't smoke and should eat well, those aren't always the things that could kill her during delivery. Plus, Michelle had been there before and had already given birth to 3 healthy children, so she probably knew what to avoid. It looks like officials are trying to put the blame on someone else. USA Today also found that Louisiana is the state where pregnant women and new mothers are most likely to die. In the state's report on mother deaths, the hospital or healthcare system didn't seem to be blamed at all. Instead, it talked about things like death and violence in the home. Cindy Pearson, who is in charge of the National Women's Health Network, talked to reporters. Cindy quickly admitted that some of these stories were not true. "Don't tell me what was wrong with the women," she told him. "Don't make a list of how much they weighed or if they smoked. Someone looked after the women. What were they doing?" Crystal Jackson of St. Peters, Missouri, almost died at birth because of a problem that was almost missed. After her C-section in 2017, an artery in her cervix was broken, which made her bleed out of control. Doctors kept sending her to the emergency room, but they couldn't figure out what was wrong. When she was finally given a diagnosis, the problem was so bad that she had to have a hysterectomy. This ended her dreams of having a second child of her own. There are a lot of stories like these. Doctors need to pay more attention to pregnant women because the problems and numbers will only get worse if they don't. Women don't deserve this, especially kind-hearted ones like Michelle. That's it for today, friends. Please let us know what you think about this story. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon for more amazing stories.